Thank you. So, yeah, Manzoor. So, we will discuss about today how to connect to the external system and how to access the external data into our API. Yesterday, I have shown you last 3 days how we will send the API data to the external system. Now, we want to pull the data from the external system into our API, into our API. Okay. So, I will show you. This is the free one of the website. So you can go through any one of your free website as well for your APIs. So this is also one of the external website. So here in this website, if you can see here, maybe a second. So if you can see here, hmm, this got updated. Second. Retain detailed information for a specific country using IOSC code. Okay, get cities by countries, get all countries. Yeah, get all countries. This is what we required. So in this get all required, so it retrieves the a complete a list of countries with the basic information. So this is the external API, guys. Okay. So in this API, what it will do, it will return the list of countries with the basic information. So retrieve a complete list of countries with the basic information, including the ISO codes, phone codes, and currencies, and the regional data. So authentication is required. So this is the authentication API key and key value we need required. Okay. So this will be the response. Response should be like this. Common use cases, country selector dropdown. Yeah. And country context, suggested details. So I will show you guys how to test this external integration API in the Postman, and then we will configure in our APN. Okay. So this is the external website, guys. I'm using the free APIs. So if you can search the free APIs as well in the Google, and then you can test it and you can configure in our APN. So I will show you how to connect to the external system as well. So firstly, before connecting to the external system APIs into our APN, so what we need to do, we have to check the API endpoints and the response type and authentication details as well. Okay. The later on, you can successfully configure the same details into our APN as well. So now quickly adding a new request here. So country details, like that I was providing the name. Okay. And then get all country details. Okay. So here we need the URL. So this is the URL. You can see URL. So up to slash V1 countries. So now giving this API key. So yeah, this was the 200 success response. And these are all the get APIs, guys. Okay. So that means get method APIs. So now authentication. For authentication, we need to use the API key authentication and the API key header. This was the API key header. So now, I'm now going to here, test this out. Hide floating controls. Yeah. Unauthorized error. You should not be there. So we need to authorize this. Okay. How to authorize this? Go to authorization tab. Here we have the API key authorization. For this API key, I have to change the API key name to C. This is the API key header name they have provided. So where is the value? So here we can't able to see the value, right? I mean, here we don't have the key name. So what I have did, so if you want the key name, so we can send an email to this website and they will share the API key details. So somewhere I have read this. Okay, authentication. Unauthorized address should be there. So API key authentication. Get your API key, register our portal to obtain the API key. So I have registered this to portal earlier and generated the API key value. Okay. So I will provide the API key with you as well and link as well for this website. So you can use this API key. Okay. Like, see, this is the API key, guys. This is the API key which I have registered and get the API key value from the website. And I'm updating the API key here and now test this up. See now if you can see, it will return the 200 status code. Okay, right? So that means we are fetching the details from the external system. So yeah, this is the external base URL and these are the authentication details and the method details we have configured and fetch the external system data, right? So now same data we will configure in our API. How do we will configure? So guys, so if you want to connect to the external system, so we have the connected system object is. If you can see here, there will be three different objects are in the same category to connect or it was the two-way communication. Like if you want to send the data to the external system, we are using the web API. So if you want to fetch the data from the external system into the APN, so we will use the connected system and the integration objects. So these three objects are called as the two-way communication objects. Okay. Send the data and get the data from the external system. Send the data to the external system, fetch the data from the external system. Okay. So now if you want me to go through the one by one object. So here is the connected system. So basically and mainly we will use the connected system object to connect to the external system, guys, or the third party systems. Okay. So these are all the different types of connected system which are available in our APN. Okay. So if you can see here, so we will discuss this thoroughly. No need to worry. So if you had a HTTP request, HTTP request in the sense REST URLs. So as we discussed REST and SOAP, right? So now in our scenario, this is the see HTTP request. So this is the REST URL. So if you want to configure the REST URLs, what you need to do, you have to select the HTTP connected system. Okay, HTTP connected system. And if you want to connect to the any OpenAI, you can use this. Or else if you want to connect to the database, see, connect to the custom JDBC data source or the DB2 data source. Or else we do have we do have PostgreSQL something is there. Yeah, here is the Postgre Oracle database. If you want to connect or Salesforce data source, you want to connect or SQL Server database, you want to connect, you can connect. But if you want to connect these data source, you have to be your username, password for this, and JDBC connection URL you have, and these don't have mandatory. So these are all the required parameters values we need to provide before connecting to the external system from the APN. Okay. As of now, we don't have that credentials. So if we have now, we can easily connect. Okay. So now we will connect with the HTTP request. So for that, we will quickly select the HTTP request here. And it was asking for the basic URL. Base URL it is asking. Okay. So now we will quickly add the T4 connected system CL underscore underscore what was this website? Country, state, cities. Okay. Get okay. Country, state, city connected system. Okay. So now here, if you want to add a system logo, you can add the system logo for the connected system. So it was asking for the base URL. So how we will find the base URL? So if you can see here, guys, so I will add these URLs in one of the pages. Then you will get to know what is meant by the base URL. So going to our worksheet here. So in this worksheet, scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. So if you can see here, this is one of the URL. Okay. Control Z. Yeah, this is one of the URL. So we will configure one by one every one, guys. Everything here. Okay. So initially we have configured get all countries, right? So now get country details API is also there. For this as well, we have the different URL. Okay. For this as well, we have the different URL. So if you can see this URL, and I will add one more URL as well. Control Z, Control A, Control B. Relax. I'm going to here, paste here. Yeah, now we will got this and next one, country, state, get states by country. So here as well, we have the different URL. So now if you can see here, so I'm pasting this URL as well. So these three URLs are fine. So now we will create these three URLs in integrations in our APM. Okay. So for that, quickly going to here. Yeah. So if you can see here, guys, so if you can see here, so in the base URL up to version 1, see, up to version 1 slash countries, the three URLs will be the same, right? So later on, we will add slash country code or else slash country code slash states. So what is meant by the base URL in the sense, in the three URLs, if you can see, slash V1 version 1 slash countries up to here the URL will be the same, right? So this is called the base URL, guys. So what was the static URL and endpoint getting changing, right? So that static URL removing the endpoint is called the base URL. Okay. So if you can go through here as well, any integration created from this connected system, any integration. So later on, we will create a integration object by using this connected system. Okay. So at that time, what we will do, we will use the connected system to configure the integration. At that time, so connected systems will inherit its base URL for the integration. So the designer can use the base URL in the conjunction with the no relate with a relative path to the construct to the full URL. So relative path and everything I will explain you in the integration object. Okay. So as of now, you got the clarity because clarity about the base URL, right? Manjur.
It is common one.
Yeah. Yes. Common base. I mean common URL without a endpoint. Okay. I mean endpoint will be vary for each API URL, right? I will show you. I have shown you na earlier. Endpoint will be the different for the each API. So like that, before the endpoint, we are configuring the base URL here. Okay. So now we will configure the authentication. What was the authentication here? So authentication is nothing but API key authentication we are configuring. So same what we have configured in the API key authentication header name. So same details we need to pass here. Header name as well as the key value. So see here. So in the now latest release, they have added this feature called data source shortcut. That means, so if you are creating a record type, you have to select the data source, right? Earlier, what we have the database, process model, Salesforce web service. So if you want to add along with those sources, you can check this checkbox. So if you can check this checkbox, it will available there. So I will show you. No need to worry regarding this as well. Okay. So I'm enabling this checkbox. Display name as a country countries. Okay. So there are two options are available, guys. Okay, for creating the connector system, you can directly can create and it will use in the new integration. Otherwise, you can create by single this object only. You are not going to create simultaneously with the in connector system and integration. So as of now, we are going with the single object creation called connector system object, guys. So, so as per my understanding, and I have conveyed you regarding this connector system is to store the connection details of the external system before connecting to before using the URLs and fetching the data from the external system. So it will also we will call them as a uh, storing the connection external system details for one time and reusing the same connector system whenever you are creating multiple integrations. Okay, so if you want, I have added the definition as well here for you guys, so for the better understanding. See, character system objects store the authentication and the connection information. So what we have did here, so we have storing the connection details as well as the authentication details as well. So what it will do, this will allow you to easily connect to the external integrations. Yeah. So external URLs, I can say external URLs and the data sources as well. Okay. So it allows you to deploy the connection information across the environments as well, and using the different connection information for each environment. So that means, so guys, so when we are deploying the connected system objects, so it will deploy those connection details of the external systems as well into the target environment. If you want to modify while deploying, you can modify using the customization file as well. So that we will discuss in the deployment time. So yeah, so mainly use it to store the connection details and connect it to the external system via connected system object. Okay. So and we can store the connection details as well. So we can reuse the same connection details. So in the different integrations and the multiple integrations by using this connected system object. Okay. So you can go through this link here as well for the detailed information of the connected system object. So I will add here as well. Okay. Adding you here as well. So you can go through the permission levels as well. Administrator, editor, viewer, what we have permissions like integration connected systems only executing the integrations that using the connected system. So now guys, we have created the connected system, right? So now I will show you how to use the same connected system in the integration object. Okay. So I was using the two-way communication objects. So in one of that object, we have the integration object. Okay. So while creating the integration itself, you can see there are three types of options are available for creating the integration. So integration which we are using to connect to the third party systems, guys. So that's why I was creating. That's why I have the need to create the integration object. Otherwise, we don't require to create this object. So whenever you have the scenario to connect it to the external system to fetch the data into the APN, or else if you want to post the data to the external systems, whatever the method it is, if you want to connect, you can use the integration object to connect to the external systems. Okay. So there are three types of options are available to create the integration. So one is the connected system, another one is the scratch, creating from the scratch, and you can duplicate the existing integration as well. So in our application, we have not created any integration so far, so we can't duplicate the existing one. So yes, so now we are going with the you can use the connector system to create. So that I will show you later. So we can start in the scratch. So assume we don't have created any connector systems. Okay. So now it will asking for us the direct integration name and the description. So now I'm providing the name int get country details. Okay. Configuring the get country details. So guys, if you can observe here, we have not writing any single line piece of code here. So we are just configuring the configurations. Okay. Oh, okay. We want, so when we create the integration, the landing page looking like this, guys. Okay. So we have the three sections are there. Okay. Firstly, go with the rule input section. So here you can pass the rule inputs. Sorry, create the rule inputs and pass the rule input values to the uh, to the. So I will show you where we will pass this. Okay. So you can see the result on the rule input values as well. So if you can create here any rule input, so it will present here in the rule input section, passing the values under the ad hoc cases. So now I will pass, as of now, ID I will pass, assume this is the ID. So we can create, so we can see the rule input values. If you want to pass from the middle section, you can pass the rule input value. See here, this is the rule input section. Okay, under this, you can able to see the result. So whatever the result which was fetching from the integration, you can see here. Under the result tab, if you want to modify the HTTP request, and these are all the different types of response types, guys. If you want to see the raw response, you can use the result, or else if you want to see the HTTP request, HTTP response, you can change. Okay. So now I will removing this rule input. As for our scenario, we don't require the rule input now because we are directly fetching all the details from the source. So now, yes, this is the rule input. This is the response tab, and yeah. So this is the configuration tab, guys. So how many tabs we are having? How many sections? There are around 5 sections are there. So after you configured, if you select the post method, there will be another category also will get added. Okay. So as of now, initially we have the connection category tab is there, and query parameters and the headers and the response and the request logging and response logging section is there. So we'll go with the connection first. Okay. So what we usually do in the connection. So yep. So in the connection, we will add the connection details, guys. So explain in detail, no need to worry. Integration, integration object. Yeah. So quantified or three. Yes. So if you can go through here, integration definition, integration. Where is the connection? Yeah. So URL, base URL, related path, character system, authentication, username, password, usage, content type, response body and documentation, encrypted values, logging, output, error, security, duplicate. Okay. So if you can see here, yeah. So guys, going to the integration here. So if you can see here under the connection details, uh, enter the connection details below. So you can pass the connection details like URL, that base URL what we have created, right? That URL and the authentication details and the method details and the timeout and the usage. So these details you can configure, or else if you have already configured in the connected system, you can change this radio button option to configure the connected system like T4 connected system if you provided now. So see, build a URL from the scratch or inherit the URL from the base URL. So here, so it is inheriting the base URL, right? So this is the base URL which we have configured in the connected system. So it is fetching under the base URL. So, so under this connected system, use a connected system option. So we have inherited the base URL. So if you want to build the URL from scratch, you can select that option as well. Okay. So if you can see here, inheriting the URL from scratch and building the URL from scratch. That means you can edit the base URL. See here. So there is the editor is there, right? So you can use this editor and you can configure your own URL. See, after that it is asking you to provide me the URL. So up to here it is showing, and then it is concatenate with the ampersand and the value which we are going to provide here. So we don't have any other external endpoints to configure here. So now we will go with the, as of now, we will go with the inherit the base URL. Okay. So inheriting the base URL. So this is the base URL where the base URL can be modified at the connector system level. Connector system level we can modify. Okay. See, base URL should be used to store a consistent prefix for the URLs for all the integrations. Okay, so for the connected system, base URL is set on the connected system. Okay, base URL is set on the connected system. So now we will go to the relative path. So what is meant by the relative path? Specify the endpoint of a given operation. So that is what I want to convey. So if you have the endpoints got updating, so like this, we can see here in the worksheet. So the endpoint slash India slash states like that, the endpoints will get an updating. Na? So those details, endpoint details, we will configure in the relative path. Okay. It is fully expressible, allowing for a dynamic URL based on the rule inputs. Yes, based on the rule inputs as well, you can dynamically pass the relative path. Okay. So now URL preview. So this is the URL preview. See, the third option URL preview is there now. So it is determined by evaluating the relative path appending to the connected system base URL. So what we have passed here, right, in the relative path, if I pass slash India, so in the URL preview, you can see base URL and relative path will concat and show the result. See if you can see here in the real URL preview, you can able to see the base URL and the relative path, the combination of both the uh, values. So URL preview is determined by evaluating the relative path appending to the end of the connector system base URL. Yes, that is how you can pass the relative path yes to the base URL. So I hope you got the understanding between the relative path and the base URL, right, Manjur?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, thank you. So now, okay. So I will, yeah, true. Okay. So methods. Methods is nothing but the HTTP methods, guys. HTTP methods in the sense whenever we are trying to hit the HTTP URL in the REST. So you can able to see the methods in the REST URLs only. Okay. So in the REST URL, if you want to hit the URL, okay. So there will be a multiple methods are there like get, post, put, patch, delete. Okay. So it is very important, guys. You have to provide the method while accessing the API URLs because whether it is the get method, you don't need to pass the body. Okay. So whether it is the post method, so if you can see here, there is no query parameters, headers. Oh, sorry, there is no request body is there, right? So when you update to the post method, so it will expect you to post the request body. See. Here you can see the request body tab category is coming up, right? So that means in the post method, we will post the details to the API URLs. You got my point, right? Yeah, see if you can see, I have explained you yesterday regarding the post method. See, in the post method, what we have did, we are creating a we are creating a new meeting. See, see if you can see here, this is our base URL, and so for the base URL, this is the uh, method post, guys. For the post method, what we are doing, we are passing the meeting details to create the new meeting in our system using the post method. So in the get method, we can't able to post those details. That is also I will show you. Wait. Yeah, see. New meeting got created successfully with the meeting ID 43 and 44. Two meetings got created. So if you change this to the get method, you change to the get method and try to post it. See, not found. Because for this base URL, the method type and the base URL you are trying to access it, it is not same. So that's why there will be the miscommunication what happened and it is not allowing us to post the details. So that is what it is required to provide the method for the existing base URL. You got it right, Manjul? So why we require the method? While
I got
configuring
it.
the API URL itself, you need to decide whether it is the get method or post method. So put is
To
also there.
do
Put is
the
for the yeah
operations like getting the data and
posting the
writing
data.
the data, correct?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're true. Absolutely
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So, so while providing the API documentation itself, they will provide the entire details like what is the sample response, what is the base URL, what are the inputs are available, what are the required parameters we need to pass. So try to go through the study session, then you will get the more clarity on this. Okay. So in the external system as well, if you can see here, so while configuring from the external system as well, they are clearly providing the API documentation details. See, this is the get method and this is the base URL and this is the API key authentication. So that's why we are need to provide the method type as here get. So as of now, we are not configuring any authentication details. So yeah, as of now, we are not configuring any authentication details. We simply uh, click on the test request because the authentication details are inheriting from the connector system. So now you can see here, it returns the result as a success. And if you can see here, the response it is coming as a JSON format and the raw response body, right? So if you want to convert this to the APN value, you can use this link here to convert the JSON. So these are all the JSON data into APN value. So if you are already aware of it, right? So APN value should be like a proper format with the dictionary. type. See here. Convert the JSON value to the Appian value. Now test the request again. See now it will coming as a proper structure like dictionary format, a result. In the result we have the headers, and the headers we will have the category called body as well. So body is coming as a proper dictionary format, right? If you change the output type as a Appian value, so this is how we will convert the data to the Appian value, guys, from the raw response body. So this is the HTTP response. Okay, this is the result. This is the HTTP request we are requesting with the get method, base URL, and the API key, and the host name, and the connection, and the user agency, and everything they have shown you while requesting the HTTP request. Okay, so Manju, do you understand how to get the how we have get the data from the external system?
I got it. We need to use integration and connected system
Yes.
objects.
Yes. So without using the connected system as well, we can directly create the integration, and we can configure the authentication details. Okay. So now I will show you another integration. So without creating the connected system, I will go directly with the integration creation. Okay. Create from scratch only. Create from scratch only, and int get what we have another integration. So we have done with this. We have get country details we are having. Okay. For the get country details, what we need to do, we have to pass the base URL up to base URL slash country code. Country code we need to pass, guys. Okay. So now what I will do, I will configure this base URL in the integration object get country details. Okay. Creating from scratch the integration. So the name is already exist. Get country details by country code. So like that, I am providing the name here. So now what we can do here. So now we will try again. Yes. So now we are creating from the scratch, guys. Okay. Before integration, we have created using the connected system, right? So now we are creating the integration with the scratch. So it is asking me to provide the base URL. So now I am providing the base URL up to here. Okay, up to here I am providing. So enter connection details below. So base URL and the URL I'm providing here. We don't have the relative path. The relative path we only see when you are trying to create the integration using the connected system. Okay. So we are not using the connected system here to configure the integration. Okay. So we are providing the URL, and you can see the URL review here, and authentication. Authentication, it is not showing me the API key authentication here as of now. Basic. When we select the basic authentication, so it will show username and password. Yeah. No, guys, it is not showing me the API key authentication. So we definitely need to go with the use connected system to configure the base URL here. Okay. Let's check if this data is still folding. Okay. So now T4 connected system we are using to store. So fetch the details for the connection details. Okay. Yeah, base URL we need to pass the relative path. So relative path how we will pass. So yeah. So if you can see and understand the URL here, so up to countries slash we need to pass the IS02 code. IS202 code where it is. See if you can go through here. See here IS202 code is there na for every dictionary. I mean, for every country, there will be a separate code for their country. For Afghanistan, they have the AF as a country code. For islands, they have the country code. For Albania, they have their country code, own country code, right? So same like that. So we need to concatenate this ISO2. So now what I can do, I will copy this from here and I will create a same rule input here with the text type and concatenate the rule input to the base URL, and then I will try to fetch those details. Okay, text here. So now how to concatenate the base URL with this okay, relative path. So relative path, I want to append the ISO2. So how can I append that? Using this double quote slash and ampersand. Ampersand, which is used to concatenate the both the texts, guys. Okay, I'm concatenating the backward slash and the rule input value which the user will enter. So sometime the user will enter the different value, sometime the user enter the different value, right? So yeah, so this is the get method, and it is query type as everything we have configured. So now I will try to pass the AF. Okay, AF I want to pass here and test the request. Converting the response to the JSON value. So JSON value to the Appian value and test the request again. If you can see here, you can able to identify all the country details here. See, headers we are having. So in the header, we have the country name, ISO3, and the numeric code, and in details about the country codes. Here, if you can able to see. So by using the rule input, we can dynamically pass. So without rule input as well, without rule input as well, you can able to configure. So that I will show you. Okay. Without rule input as well, that I will show you. Relative path slash forward slash. So I can directly pass so I will removing this. But otherwise you will get confused. So now I'm not using the rule input, guys. I'm just concatenating the base URL with the country code to fetch the country details. So other than that, we have AX, we have AL, you have. So India as well we have, right? So I will pass IN here. As I know, we have the India code as IN. So now I'm testing this base URL by passing the relative path. So now if you can see here, India and India related details, all these details are fetching up here, right? So yeah. So if you want to change, you have to modify in the relative path, right? So you have to open the object and every time, and you have to modify this integration relative path to fetch the particular country details. So this is called as the static way. So dynamic way in the sense. So when you are calling this integration in other objects like interface or expression rule somewhere, if you are calling this integration object while using the rule input, you can able to call them as a parameter in that object, right? So if you can simply pass the parameter value and you can fetch the or filter the data, right? So that's why we are instead of giving the statically here, we are trying to give them as a rule input to send the data dynamically. Okay. So as of now, we have seen only success scenarios, right? So now, without passing the rule input value, and we are trying to access the base URL, so external system URL, what will happen, we'll see. So there will be a success to status code 200, but it is fetching all the countries' details, I guess. So no. So without passing this, it will consider as a before what we have configured, right? Before integration slash v1 slash countries. So it is behaving like that only. If we pass the relative path, then only it will work. Work in the sense it will fetch those country details only. Otherwise, it was fetching all the country details. Manjur, tomorrow try to log in through system, bro. If you logged in, I will configure. I will configuring with you only the one of the integration project. Okay, are you there? So Manjur, are you there? So, okay. We'll create another integration, guys. Okay. Mm, get states by country. Yeah. Get states by country as well. So for this, what we need to do, we have to construct the URL like construct the URL like this, guys. So ISO2 slash states, country states, it will fetch. So this is the URL we will configure now. For this as well, I will go with the two-way communication object called integration, and using the connector system I will create now. T4
Hello, can you
connector.
hear me?
Yeah, yes, Manjur. Are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, Manjur, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I got some network issue. Yeah, yeah, just network issue. I
Yeah.
came back.
So, yeah, have you seen how to pass the relative path and fix the details?
You created integration directly, right?
No. When we are trying to create the integration directly, what will happen? It is not showing the API key authentication to provide the
Oh,
API key
okay.
value. So now, later on, what we have did, so we have used the using connector system object. So if you can see here, enter the below details here. So see authentication only none and basic are showing. API key is not showing,
Okay.
right? So that's the one of the reason as well. We can use the connected system. Okay. So now
So
I'm
there is
trying to
no
create,
direct creation, correct?
yeah, API key. Yeah.
Okay.
So authentication types are required, right, to configure the API URLs and the authentication details and the methods. So now, Manjur, we are trying to create the third API here from here. Okay. So you guys, you can go with this other configurations as well. So this one as well, I will explain you how to create. So for this base URL, we have the v1 slash countries up to base URL is same. Later on, what we have the ISO2 code, and then we have to pass the states here. See, states. So like that, if you pass now, you can fetch the particular country state. You can able to fetch. Okay. So now we will configure that as well. So I'm using directly connected system to creating the integration. So now int integration object get state details. So now we are getting the state details here. So now clicking on create. So now if you can see, so it will directly use the connector system option in the integration object and it will fetch the base URL. So we simply need to modify the relative path to fetch dynamically particular state particular country states details. Okay. So now if we can see here the base URL. So we need to update the relative path. How we can update the relative path? To update the relative path, we will create a rule input first. Okay. So I will create a rule input first because of to send the country code dynamically to the base URL. So now I will add a rule input with the ISO2. Yeah, ISO2 and the text here and clicking on create here relative path. Close slash forward slash ampersand bang ISO2 and then concatenate with the uh, states. Here if you can see uh, ISO2, after that we have to concatenate backward slash uh, with the states. Right. So now I'm concatenating the URL with the same. Now clicking on OK. So now we have configured everything. So this is the get method. So yes. So now we are trying to pass the India code here and fetching the details. So based on the country, it is fetching the states. So this is the raw response body. So I will convert to the APN value, then you will get the more clarity. So clicking on the test request. So if we can see here under the headers, you have the body. Under the body, you can see 36 state details are fetching up here. Meghalaya, Haryana, Maharashtra, Manipur, something. All these state details are fetching up here based on the country code. So this is how we will configure Manjul. Okay. So now we will discuss about the remaining options in the integration. So we have query parameters. Okay. Query parameters we are having. So I will explain you what is meant by the query parameter. In yesterday class, while creating the web API, I have created the query parameters as well. Okay. So I will show you. So this is we are creating the web API for third-party systems to access our API data, right? So while creating our web API itself, we have created the query parameters. See here, query parameters are nothing but the URL parameters. Okay, the name value pair that appear in the request URL for a after a question mark. See, you can see this is the query parameter. So meet ID and the meet ID value. This will concatenate to the URL, and we can fetch the query parameter value by using the HTTP query parameters like that, and then we have fetched, right? So all these configuration we did in our APIs. So same like that, the external system also, while creating the API URLs, the external system, they want to, they will use the query parameters option now. So they will ask us to provide the query parameters. At that time, we will use this query parameter section to pass the values same like this. See, meet ID 24. So if you want me to show the external system as well, I can show you. In the parameters, we have the query parameters, right? So in the query parameters, we can provide the key and the value. If that base URL is expecting to pass the query parameters, we will pass key name and the value, right? So same like that in our API integration as well. The external system needs to be passed the query parameters. We can use this name and the value key pairs. So see, they have provided the definition as well. So we'll append it to the URL using the format after the endpoint. You can see question mark and the query parameter name and the value. So these query parameter names and values will be the URL encoded before being added. Yeah. So that is meant by the query parameters. If the URL is expecting the query parameters, we can pass the query parameters and we can fetch the details. So headers. So while creating our web API, we have provided the headers as well, right? So if they are expecting to be written headers as well, so we can use. So the default headers will be added to the request automatically. If they have added any default headers, that will be added automatically to the request. Add the headers here to override or extended the default headers. Test request to see the which headers are being added before adding your own. Yeah. So if you are trying to add your own, you can choose the headers here. See, in these headers, you can see date they are passing, content type. Yeah. So if you want to append the header, sorry, append in the sense, update the header, you can use this add header option here, and you can update the header values which they are already providing. See, these are all the default headers they are passing from the system. So if you want to update these headers, so we'll try to update one of that. So one of the header we are trying to update is content. Content type, try to update and let's see. Okay, application slash JSON, right? So now what I want to do, I want to application slash text like that I will put. Okay. So now try to hit this URL and let's see. It is not reading updating because in the external system URL, they are not, uh, I have not seen anywhere. Content type application slash JSON only it is coming. Only one is there. Uh, so guys, application like text is not there, I guess. So they have not configured the HTTP headers like this, which I have configured right earlier. So like this, they have not configured to update. See HTTP headers like that, the value dynamically we received from the user and provide output, right? So like that, they have not configured in the external system to fetch the data from the user to update the content of the headers. Yeah, they are providing the default headers. They are not asking us to provide the any headers. Okay. If there is a path parameters are there. Okay. So these are nothing but the headers, guys. If you want to display the headers by your own, if the API is allowing you to provide, allowing in the sense if they are passing, if they are updating that, then they have configured the headers. Otherwise, they have not configured the headers. So like that, they have using and response. See. So guys, if you want to change the response, return raw response body, if you want to print, you can use this. Or else, if you want to convert the JSON value to the APN. So this is the APN value, guys. Before that, you have seen raw response body. So now, if you want to convert them to the raw response body, you can change in the response type. Or else, you can convert that binary to the APN document. So in your external system integration, if they are returning the base 64 string. Base 64 string in the sense, so when you want to convert that any of the document, we will use the base 64 string as a format to send the document, guys. Right. So that is what it is saying. So convert the binary to the append document. So if you had a base 64 string to convert to the append document, we will use this response type. So like that, we have three different types of response types are there. So like that, we will change the response type from the integration. Okay, these are the request logging and so here we have the error handling as well. So use default error handling in the sense if there is any errors are coming up, the APN itself it will throw the validation status code issues from the external system like that it will throw. Okay, so if you want to override define error conditions, we have the ABank integration error function is there. So we'll discuss this thoroughly. You don't need to worry. See, you can provide your title, own title and the details. Based on the status code, you want to print the error message, you can print this by using this override and define all the error conditions option. Okay. Yeah, this is the request logging for accessing the logs in the server, guys. Okay. So, Manjur, do you have any doubts on this as of now? Do you want me to explain this again? So if you go through the yesterday
Uh,
class now, then you will get more insights about the what is query parameters and the path variables and the headers. So now, if you can see here, we have configured the path variable only here. See, we are because we are directly concatenating with the path, right? We are not using any request body or something like we are not using any query parameters. We are directly using the path segments here. See, path segments in the sense, what will happen using the path segments. So it will, that comes after the endpoint. That comes after the URL endpoint, it will directly come. Like for example, if you can see, up to here, this is the base URL. So up to tutorial is the base URL. The path is the tutorial slash path. So up to here, this is the base URL and the path variable is tutorial slash path. So it is got appending, right? So this is called the path variables. So now I have configured the path variable only here.
yes. So basically, how this web APIs integration kinds of systems will be used in project in real world?
Yeah, nice question. So in next classes only, I will show you how to use these objects in the other objects. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So basically web APIs, we use it to provide our data to the external system. Okay. I have created this URL. So if you can go to the yesterday class, you can get more idea. So these URLs will be accessing by the external system. They are sending the data. See, now only I have sent the data to our APN side from the external system, not from the APN side. So for that purpose only, we will use the web APIs for getting the data or fetching the details by the third party system. They can use our API URLs to push and pull the data. You got it for the web API. So coming to the integrations, when you want to connect to the third party systems, we will use this. So I will show you how to use these objects in our API and other objects and how we will send the data, how we will push the data, everything. Everything we will discuss about in detail thoroughly. Okay. So in the next
Yeah,
7 days
sure.
itself, we will try to cover all the scenarios on the integrations, connector systems, and web APIs. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
As of now, do you have any queries on the previous topics? You want me to explain the integration topic again, or else you did not clarity anything? So as of now, you can see here we have not written any piece of code here. We just append the URL related path only, and we have fetching the details. Right. This won't take
Yes.
muchly hardly half an hour for you to configure.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
try to
I will watch the recordings and I will complete this web part. I mean, web API parts.
web API and integration try to complete, na, then you can will be on the same.
Mm-hmm.
You and me are on the same page.
Sure. I will complete today. Definitely.
Yeah, sure. So if you don't have anything, na, so we will connect tomorrow and we will discuss the next things. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Manju, for joining. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Yes. So yesterday, based on the status code, I mean, based on the country code, we are fetching the details from the external system. So give me a second, it's loading. Yeah. So in the body, if you can see, these are all the states related to the this country. So today I will show you how to post the data to the external system. So uh, assume that create meeting. So we are uh, creating the meeting in the APN by using the external system, right? So same like that. Think of it. This is the external URL. Okay. So create meet URL is the external URL. We have the method details and the request body, and we have the authentication details, right? So what we did, so we will configure that URL posting URL details in the integration object. Okay. Assume this is the external system URL, and we are configuring them in the APN. Okay. So I will show you how to post the data to the external system using the integration object. Okay. So now I want to create the URL from the scratch, or else we'll start with the connected system. So usually connected system we are using to store the connection details. So I will store the connection detail here for the external system. So this is the HTTP request. Okay. HTTP request, connected system. Uh, 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 Connected system meet details. Okay. Base URL. So as you know, up to web API, this is the base URL. After the web API, we will provide the what we will provide the endpoint. So now I'm providing the base URL, and authentication should be the API key authentication. And here we are asking us to store the authentication details. So where we can find that in the authorization tab, we have the authentication details. So I'm providing the key name and the value here. Yes. So creating this integration, sorry, connected system. So adding a new users. So in group, we have the administrator access. The 4 users, we have the viewer access. Clicking on the save. Yeah, we have created the connected system, right? So now we will create the integration object by using the connected system. So using the connected system, T4/en meeting details. Yes, HTTP request. So now int integration. Okay, post meeting details. Okay. So now clicking on create option here. So trying again. So now we are using the connected system here to construct the base URL. See, this is the base URL. So the relative path. Relative path is nothing but the endpoint. Endpoint I will provide as a create meet. Create meet. So the method. What was the method here? We are using the post method to post the details. And the timeout as of now I was taking 10 here. And yes, if you can see here, we have the request body for the post method. So using the request body, we can be able to pass the post details. So as of now, I will post the details like this, guys. So headers, body, and the body will first one row first. D/7. Control Z. Yeah, we are posting only one request body. Okay. So now going back to the application monitoring tab. Again, we will starting the process in the APN by using the integration object. Yes, there was an issue with the environment, so you don't need to worry. Yeah, so now we will trigger this, guys. We have provided the request body as well as the method details, and the relative path is nothing but the endpoint, and the authentication details as well. We are providing using the connected system object. Okay, we are passing the authentication details as well. So now let's try to hit the external system to create a meet. I mean to post the meeting details. So now instead of response return raw response body, we will convert the response to the JSON to APN value. So now here when we click on test request, so the status code was 200, and in the body you can be able to see initiator details, designer details, and process model creator details. Yeah. So if you can see here under the process variable, PV is nothing but the process variable meeting type. We are creating the 45 meeting ID. 45 meeting ID got created successfully. So if you want to post multiple rows, you can post same like here, right? So if you want to pass the data through the rule input, I will show you how to pass the data. Okay. So now creating a new rule input. Meeting details, and this should be the what data type should this should be, this should be map data type. So because we are key value pair, right? Key value pair, and we can be able to pass multiple meetings at a single go. So now we have created the meeting details rule input. So now we will pass the data through the rule input itself. Okay. So now cut this, paste here, and instead of meeting ID 7, we will go with the meeting ID 8. And here in the request body, we will pass directly the role input value, meeting details. So now we have the meeting details in the rule input. So now try to hit this. Yeah. Okay. Status code 200, meeting ID 46, and new meeting ID 46 got created, and the meeting ID 8/8. So this is how we will pass the rule input data to the request body and then to the base URL, and we will post the data by authorizing the authentication details. Right. Pranali, do you have any doubts on this? How to post the data to the external system? Hello, Pranali, are you there?
Yes, Ganesh, sorry, I missed.
Yeah. So here we have not write any piece of code. We are doing the just configurations, the external URL and the relative path and the method details and the request body. Okay. We are passing the details through the rule input to the request body, to the base URL and the method type.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If you want to know in detail about the integration, you can go through the yesterday class. Okay. No issues.
Okay. Yeah.
So now,
Yes, yes, yeah.
yeah, we have created the post integration, right? So now we will see how to call the integration, how to call the integration in the other Appian objects when we will perform, where we will perform, how we will perform the integrations. Okay. So yeah, I will quickly create one process model for calling the integration. So T4 all integration create. So we can call the integration in two ways, guys. In the process model, how we will call the integration, I will show you now. Clicking on save this again. Yes. So here, if you can see here, this will comes under communication. No, no, this will comes under JSON tools, JSON document viewing, integrations and API. Yeah, in the integrations and API, we have the call integration smart service, guys. Okay. So to configure this call integration smart service, we require the integration setup. Okay. So we already set up the integration, right? We simply need to, what we need to do? We simply go to the setup tab. Here we need to select the integration. So here T4 slash INT and the post meeting details. Post meeting details we have created, right? So for this meeting details integration, posting meeting detail integration, we have created the rule inputs. So where we will pass the data to the rule input under the data tab, we have the inputs tab. Under the input tab, you can able to see the rule input. So it will ask us to provide the rule input. Okay. So what we can do is, what we can do is, control S. So now we will create a rule input, guys. No need to worry. We'll quickly create a new rule input. T4 INT post meeting details and going to the data tab. Under the data tab, meeting details. What we can do instead of going to configuration, we will create a so allow the parameter to be provided the value when starting the process and multiple values. So here we will select the meeting details. Yeah, we have created the process variable. So we will store the success as well, success response, and the result as well. We will store to see the output and the error details as well. We will store, guys. Okay. error details as well we store as of now. So this was the setup for the call integration smart service. So if you after setup, you can be able to see this is the HTTP request because we are using all the REST APIs, right? So now REST APIs all are comes under the HTTP request, HTTP requests. Delete the process instance after 1 day. I'm clicking on OK. Okay. Enable activity chain. Validating. Yeah, even publishing. Yes. So now going to here. Yeah. So we have to pass the data, guys. How we can pass the data to the process model. So how we can pass the process model to call the process model in the actions. We do require the uh, 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 constant to call the process model. So we'll quickly create a constant here. Echo PM call integration process model. Yes. So now we are calling the process model and sending the data. Okay. So how we will send, I will show you now quickly. So where is the create meeting details interface? Okay. Under the interface, we have the create meeting details interface is there. Yeah. Create meeting. Loading. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. Read only fonts. Yeah. Test interface. Yeah. There is no subject button. Okay. Sorry. Submit buttons. So we will disable the data. So we will comment the data, my data, and test this again. Why submit buttons are not visible? Is null or empty? Not null or empty, right? False. This is null or empty. You will is null or empty forever read only. Okay, null and null. Okay. So we will make this as a null here. So then only we can able to see forever read only. So now expression clicking on test interface. So now we can able to see the submit button. So in the submit button, we will call the start process, guys. Okay. So here we have lot of save intros we have written earlier. So as of now, mm, Is there any commenting of lines or there? No. To test our scenario, we will make this as comments. So yes, showing the start process here. Start process. Okay, start process. Process model we have to configure. Process model constant PM P4 underscore PM core integration and the process parameters. Next process parameter will be the process parameters we need to pass. For the process parameters, map structure we need to pass. What are the process variable we are having? We need to pass the process variable name as a process parameter here. So now meeting details. So copying this name here and going to here and paste the detail. So here we need to send the map data. So for that, I was constructing the map here. So what are the keys and values we are having to send the data? So these are all the keys and values are there. Okay. So now here instead of this, here we have. So for the subject, what we will do, we will provide the subject details. These are all the attendee details. We don't talk about the attendee details. These are all the attendees as well. So now what we can do, we will pass the saved subject details. Okay. So yeah. Subject. So subject we are storing. Subject we are passing. And the location from the rule input we are passing, guys. Okay. Location as well, I will pass. Location and the body. Is active we will pass and created by will be the logged in user and with the logged in user and created on will be the now. So this is how we will construct the data and pass to the process model from the process model itself to the call integration. So now we'll quickly add the subject called NA and the location should be the NA and the body should be the NA and I will try to submit this guys. Whenever we are submitting this, what happened in the backend, we will trigger the process model. Total number of keys must be equal with the values received 0 keys and 1 value. Okay. So we'll remove this braces. Okay, we'll try to hit this again. Yeah, clicking on submit again, performing the action of starting the process. Yeah, the process model got triggered. You can see call integration process model got triggered, right? In the call integration process model, instance, process instance. Yeah, in the process instance, if you can see here, error. Error details are occurring. See, external system and content under failed to connect. So it was unable to connect. Status code 500. But we received meeting details NA, subject NA. NA is active, created by and created on. Created on, we have not received. Run should be there now. Meeting details, map structure, meeting details. Okay. 500. Cross origin, reload. We need to collect 500. Okay. When we try to post this app, what is all got created? Integration is working fine. Why in the process model it is getting failing? Uh, 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 uh. So what we can do is opening the process model. Okay. And going to the properties here. Okay. Going to the setup tab. Going to the data tab. Going to the meeting details. So what we can do is I will directly pass the value which I am passing in the integration rule input control A, control C. And let's see is the data issue or something. So this should be the 10th. So now clicking on save and close, passing directly the data without passing from the interface. Now trigger this. Yeah, it's got trigger. Yeah, error details are null. Uh-huh. But status code 200. Why? Because success true. Yeah, success true. Status code 200, right? So now it is successfully passed. So there is an issue with the data construction itself, guys. You got my point, I guess. So while constructing the data with the map structure only, we are facing the issue. Otherwise, we can successfully pass the data to the integration and it is triggering if you pass the directly the data. Saving and close, validating this, control all this. So let's see this. Control C local variable we will assign and see local bank IMT data. So it was like a map structure only, right? So here created on we are passing the date, right? But we are passing the date and time here. Today, today we will pass. Yeah, submit the form. So let's see. Okay, sorry, we are not passing here directly. Local bank INT. We have to pass local bank INT to the process parameter value. Yeah, clicking on submit again. Yes. Yeah, instance got completed. Going back to the latest instance. Yeah, failed to connect. Same issue. Status code 500. So created on it is not coming. So we need to pass the text value instead of uh, uh, date. So we will convert to the what we will convert to? We will convert to the toString. Yes, we have converted to the toString. Now clicking on submit. Hope this time it will kept success. Okay, going to the latest instance. Yes, this is not getting understanding. The external system failed to connect. Again, we are not received the date here. Created on. Why? I don't know. Created on. Created on. So whatever we are passing directly, we will pass this only, guys. Okay, instead of all these things. Let's test this out quickly. Submit again. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yes, nice. Now this time, created on is coming up, but failed to connect. Mhm. So let's try this by directly passing the data what we are passing from the rule input. We will pass the data, same data from here. So Control A, Control C, and passing the data from here, same data. To the process parameter, to the process model, call integration smart service. Let's click on the submit here. I guess data is shown me. Let's see. Yeah, this time the API process model also got triggered. So that means it is got successful, guys. See, it's got success status 200. So the issue with the data construction part itself. So how the data will be received, you want to see, you can see here. And here if we can see meeting details we received as a list of map. Under the list of map, we have the subject text and text, boolean, everything is there. So going to the before instance and checking the history here. Text, boolean, this is the user we received, right? This is the user we received, but here in the process history, text we received. This is also list of map. This is also list of map. Why this is the issue? This is 200. This is 500. So we'll do one thing. Copy this data and go into the integration and try to paste this here. So now click on test request. Yeah, fail to connect. So now instead of user, we will remove the user function here. Clicking on test request here. Yeah, now it is got successful, right? So the issue is the sending the user type to the text value, guys. You got my point, I guess. So in the interface, what we are doing, we are sending the logged in user, right? So this will also need to be convert to the text. Yes. I hope you are clear, guys. Do you got how to call the call integration in the process model? Yeah, Pranali, are you there?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, do you got clear, right? How to call the integration in the process model and how to pass the data to the integration via.
Yes, I will go through the hands-on ones.
Yeah, sure. So I will show you another way as well, how to call the integration. Okay. So in the
Okay.
directly how see by using the call integration smart service, we have called the integration, right? So now if you can go through the domains here, so we have the rule bank domain. Under the rule bank domain is used to reference the decisions, expression rules, interfaces, as well as the integrations as well. We can reference. So using the rule bank domain, I try to call the integration now. Okay, rule bank. So if you can see here, what I was doing here, I was doing under the button action only. We can't able to call under other input components. So we can call the integrations in the actions only. Okay, button actions or link we are performing any actions. There itself only we can call the call integrations. Okay. So now T4 underscore int here post meeting details is there. For this we have the meeting details process parameter is there. For this meeting detail process parameter, what I can do, I will pass my integration data. Local bank int data. So here in the int data, instead of logged in user, I will pass Venkat directly. So now if you can see here, yeah, so we have the on success and on error parameters are there. So for on error parameter, I have created a local variable called on error. I'm passing this on error parameter error on success parameter. We will pass on success parameter we are passing.